You've got people talking about you right now, and not the way you think. I'm not talking about the surface level gossip, the kind of thing where someone mentions your name in passing and moves on. I'm talking about the kind of energy that follows you into a room and lingers there long after you've left. The kind that has people sitting at their tables and their desks, in their cars, literally thinking about you when you're not even there. They are trying to figure you out. They are trying to understand where this comes from. And honestly, it's burning them up inside that they cannot quite pin it down. There is this heat around you right now. I mean, I can feel it just saying this. It's not aggressive in a negative way. It's that magnetic pull that makes people stop what they are doing and pay attention. When you walk into a space, something shifts. The energy in the room changes. People feel it, whether they consciously acknowledge it or not. You've probably noticed how conversations pause for just a second when you arrive. Eyes find you before anyone consciously realizes they are looking. That's not an accident. That's not something you're imagining. That's real. And people are shook by it. The thing is, a lot of people around you didn't see this coming. They watched you for a long time, right? And they thought they had you figured out. They put you in a box, labeled you, decided what you were and what you were not. And then something shifted. You started showing up differently. Not in a desperate way, not in that performative energy where you are trying to convince anyone you're somebody special. That's the opposite of what you are doing. You've just quietly started existing differently. And it's terrifying to people who needed you to stay small. Let me be really specific about this because I know exactly what's happening. You probably had people in your life who were very comfortable with you being underestimated. There is something in your energy that makes certain people feel like you are either hidden or not fully realized. You know that feeling? Like you've got all this potential that just hasn't been unleashed yet. A lot of people could sense that about you from far away, and some of them, they actually hoped you'd never figure it out. Not consciously, maybe. But there was something in them that needed you to stay in that position of not quite there yet. And then you started waking up to who you actually are. I'm hearing this with people who are natural protective of themselves. You've built these walls over time, right? And people couldn't really get a clear read on you. On the surface, you might seem friendly enough, approachable, whatever, but there is something underneath that's reserved. There is something they can't quite access. That mystery is part of what's got them so interested right now. You're not the type of overshare or explain yourself or justify who you are to people who aren't really asking the right questions. You let your actions speak. You let your energy do the work. And honestly, that's been messing with people's heads because they are used to being able to figure someone out through words, through explanations, through all this extra noise. But you are operating on a different frequency. So they are gossiping about you because they are trying to make sense of you. They are there. They are in their group chats. They are in their conversations. They are trying to piece together what they have been missing. How did you suddenly become like this? How did you suddenly become like this? What changed? Was it always there and we just didn't see it? That last question, yeah, that's the one that really gets to them. Because the answer is yes. You were always like this. They just were not paying attention, or maybe they were, but they didn't want to acknowledge it because it was easier to keep you in the role they'd assigned you. There is this particular moment I'm seeing right now, and I bet some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are in a space with people. Maybe it's a work thing, maybe it's a social, could be anything. And someone saying something funny. Gets a laugh. It's a good moment. And you've got something too. You can feel it. You can feel it coming up. Something that would land different. Something that would shift the entire energy of the room. Your mind moves so fast sometimes. You see the angles, you see the setup and pay off before the words even come out of your mouth. But you don't see it. Instead, you let their moment stand. You let them have the space. You smile. You become part of their audience instead of the person running the show. And here is what nobody realizes. You miss it the second you choose not to say it. That version of yourself that would have said that thing, that version is more alive than anything else in your day. But you made a choice. You choose small. You choose safety. And the thing is, the room doesn't even notice what you gave up. They are not thinking about the jokes you didn't make or the moments you didn't take. They just see someone who's nice, who's considerate, who makes other people feel good. And you walk away from that interaction feeling two completely different things at the same time. Relief that you didn't risk, and this hollow ache that you understand perfectly but can't name to anyone, because how do you explain that? This is what happens when you've learned somewhere along the way that being visible costs something. That wanting something taking up space, being the person with the strong opinions and the edges, that costs a price. So you learned to make yourself smaller, not because you deserve the less, no. Actually, wanting less is so much harder, I want to say, than wanting everything. It's harder because the wanting is still there. You feel it every day. It's in your chest when you wake up. It's in that moment before your mind fully turns on. In those seconds where you are still half asleep and something in you reaches for something bigger. And then you remember who you're supposed to be. and you close the door. But people are noticing something now. That door has been opening, even if it's just a crack. And they are feeling the heat coming from inside. You know what's wild? The people who are gossiping about you the most are the ones who had the most invested in you staying where you were. These are people who might have been close to you or claimed to be. Some of them watched you for years, from childhood maybe. They saw the potential. They knew there was something different about you, but they had this weird way of acknowledging it while simultaneously hoping you would never really step into it. They'd say things like, "Oh," again, bad actress. "Oh, you're so talented." With this energy, that's what's actually, but don't use it where it makes me feel small. Do you feel that difference? That's what you are dealing with. And the thing about these people is that they are usually dealing with their own stuff, right? Their own unhealed places. They maybe struggled with something you seem to move through naturally. You've got this quality where even when things are not going perfectly, you don't carry it like a victim. You take things on the chin. You don't put your whole business on display and then get mad at people for knowing your business. You handle your life with a kind of quiet dignity that makes certain people absolutely lose their minds because they can't manipulate that energy. They can't get underneath it and destabilize it. Some of these people have literally tried to be you. I'm not even exaggerating. There is an energy of comparison. Yeah, comparison that's been happening, where they look at what you've done or doing and think, I do that, I could do that, I could be that. But they can't, because they are missing the essence of it. You've got something they don't have, and they know it. So they try to copy the external stuff, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, what you're doing, thinking that if they just get the outside right, the inside will follow. It doesn't work that way. No. People feel the difference between someone who's genuinely embodying something and someone who's performing, who is performing it. That's why they still feel that shift when you show up, even if someone else looks almost identical. There is something I want you to understand about why this is happening right now. You haven't become someone different. You've just stopped hiding. Or maybe you're hiding less. Maybe you're letting yourself want things more openly. Maybe you're not explaining yourself every time someone questions you or judges you. You're just existing in your power a little more. And it's like a frequency that certain people cannot be around without feeling really uncomfortable. The heat around you, that's real. That's real. Your power is real. And here is what's been wild to watch. The people who felt threatened by you are the ones claiming they are not bothered. That's always the tell, right? If you are genuinely unbothered by someone, you are indifferent. You don't think about them. You don't bring them up in conversations, but people who feel threatened, they can't stop talking about you. They are defending themselves against something you didn't even attack them about. They are reactive. They are trying to convince everyone, and really themselves, in the first place, that you are not that special, that you haven't changed that much, that they are not impressed. But their energy is telling a different story. Their words are defensive because they know something shifted, and they are scared of what that means. What's happening is that is happening. Certain people are getting hit with the reality of consequences. Actions have consequences. Words have consequences. If you've been watching someone talking about them, hoping they'd fail, sending all kinds of toxic energy their way, the universe has a way of evening things out. And I'm not being dark about this or trying to scare anyone. No, I'm just saying that a lot of people are realizing that they made mistakes about you. They doubted someone they shouldn't have doubted. They spoke negatively about someone who was actually showing up with integrity. And now they are sitting with that realization, and it's eating them alive because they can feel that shift happening, and they know they can stop it. They cannot stop it. Sorry, I'm too emotional today. You probably don't talk about this a lot, but you are someone who has genuine gifts. And I don't just mean one narrow thing. I mean that you've got this multi-dimensional quality to your intelligence, your intuition, the way you move through the world. Some of you work in spiritual fields or creative fields. Some of you are building something that nobody really saw coming. Some of you are just good at reading people and situations, and you see through people. You know when someone's not being authentic. You don't have to explain how you know. You just know. And that's been valuable to you in ways that people are now starting to understand. But here's the thing that's probably been happening. You might have downplayed that knowing. You might have second-guessed yourself because someone told you that you were wrong, or because you didn't want to hurt someone's feelings by saying what you actually sensed. You've maybe spent times wondering if you were being too harsh or too judgmental, when really you were just being honest about what you were picking up on. And now you're starting to trust that more. You're starting to act on it more. And people who have something to hide are nervous about that because they know you will see it. I'm feeling this really strongly. Yeah. Some of you are meant to do something big with your gifts, not in a way that requires you to convince anyone or prove yourself. In a way that's just an inevitable unfolding of who you actually are, my beautiful soul. Maybe that's through a career that lets you use these abilities. Maybe it's through influence or impact that you have on people around you. Maybe it's just that you become the person everyone wants to know because you're trustworthy, and real, and you actually care about people's growth. But there is something that's supposed to happen, and people can feel that potential. They can sense it the way animals sense a storm coming, and it's making them gossipy because they don't know what to do with that information. They don't know whether to support you or sabotage you. So they talk about you instead. They process their confusion and their jealousy and their fear through gossip. They try to make sense of someone who doesn't fit neatly into the boxes they were expecting. What I want you to know is that this gossip, this shook energy, this heat, it's actually a sign that you are moving correctly. If everyone was comfortable with you, you wouldn't be growing. If no one was questioning you, you wouldn't be challenging anything. The people who are most bothered are the ones who are most impacted by your presence. And yeah, some of them are impacted negatively because they cannot be around that kind of light without it showing up all their dark places. But that's not your responsibility to fix. That's not your responsibility to fix. You've been protecting yourself for a long time, and that was probably necessary. You couldn't afford to be fully yourself around certain people because they were not safe. They didn't have the capacity to hold you as you grew. So you kept parts of yourself hidden, and that was smart. But now there is this moment where you are realizing that being protected doesn't have to mean being small. That's a different thing. You can be discerning about who gets access to you without making yourself disappear for everyone. The power that people are sensing isn't something you have to develop or earn. It's already there. It's been there. It's been there. What's changing is that you are not fighting it as hard. You are not apologizing for it. You are not trying to shrink it down to make other people comfortable. And that slight shift where you're just owning your own energy instead of managing everyone else reaction to it, that's what's got people talking. Some of you are probably wondering if you should dial it back to make other people feel safer. And the answer is no. This isn't about being aggressive or unkind. It's about not sacrificing your own integrity to make space for people who are not worth the sacrifice. It's about recognizing that your comfort matters as much as anyone else's. It's about understanding that you are allowed to be the person with the strong opinions and the edges and the vision of something bigger. The people who are gossiping, they will either come around eventually, or they will become irrelevant to your story. Both outcomes are fine. What matters is that you are not spending energy trying to convince them or prove something or make them understand. You are just being you. And that's enough. More than enough. That's everything. This is your moment to stop dimming your light for people who are sitting in the darkness by choice. This is your moment to trust what you are sensing and what you know, even if no one else can see it yet. This is your moment to let yourself want things openly and stop apologizing for having an appetite, having dreams, having a version for yourself that's bigger than the role other people wanted you to play. The fire in your energy, that's not something to be afraid of. That's your power. And yeah, it burns people who are trying to control you or hold you back or keep you small. But it also lights the way for people who need that kind of courage and authenticity. It shows people what's possible when someone stops hiding and starts being real. So let them gossip. Let them gossip. Let them be shook. Let them sit with the discomfort of not being able to figure you out. You're not here to be figured out. You are here to be yourself, fully and unapologetically. And that's what has people talking right now. That's what they can't stop thinking about. That's what's burning through their minds when they are trying to go to sleep at night, trying to understand how someone they thought they knew suddenly became someone they don't recognize. Because you're not suddenly anything. You're not suddenly anything. You're just finally visible. And your power is fire.